Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for the invitation and the honor to be speaking today. Speaking of the honor, I am so happy to be sitting here amongst colleagues, peers, and brilliant minds. Amanda has said nothing but the most amazing things about this powerful community. So when I had the honor and privilege to sit in front of you and have a conversation, well, my day was made. Today, we're going to be focusing on a social media productivity planner. I don't know about you, but if there's ever been a time where you have opened your phone and you've looked at it and you've scrolled and you're wondering, what could I possibly post today? Or perhaps you have thought to yourself that maybe your life isn't as interesting as that person, or perhaps you don't travel to those places. Today, we're going to be talking about using social media not just to get discovered and not just to build your business, but to also help you stand in your purpose. I believe that this is possible, and I can't wait to walk you through that. So before I move on, I need to take a moment to say thank you and express gratitude. Thank you for sharing the most valuable thing you own with me. The most valuable thing that you own is time. Time is the most valuable resource because it is something that we all have, and as each second passes, it is one thing that we give away. So I am here receiving your seconds, your minutes, and the next 30 to 40 minutes that we have together. So thank you. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jasmine Starr, and I am a photographer and business strategist from Newport Beach, California. And I am also the very fortunate co-founder with my husband and business partner of Social Curator. Social Curator is a monthly membership that empowers business owners to build personal brands and market it on social media, and we provide the resources to make sure that people are posting every single day with ease and intentionality with a marketing strategy. For those of you who would like a little bit of a brief update, I am a photographer. I really built my chops as a businesswoman with a camera. And then lo and behold, the internet came and it changed the game for me. I started speaking up about social media and how I was using it, a girl from the hood with no experience as a creative and then building a business. And all of a sudden, I became somebody who shared content around social media that ended up getting featured in outlets like USA Today, being interviewed on MSNBC, and just this year was named Forbes Entrepreneur's Go-To Guide for a Social Media Presence. So what does this all really boil down to? Is I am not somebody special. I am not somebody unique. I am somebody who simply formulated a plan, executed on a strategy, and share what I know with others. So before I move on, I think it's easy sitting at an event like this, listening to such amazing, brilliant souls pour out education, and you're feeling excited, right? But I also understand that there is an undercurrent, and the undercurrent is us having a moment of honesty. You are not alone. I think that there's this temptation, specifically with things that are going on in the world or how 2020 has unfolded, that you have the temptation to think that, man, it feels hard doing this the way that I'm doing it. It feels hard because other people have more or are doing more or have different resources. And I am here to tell you that you're not alone. That in 2020, we have experienced a global pandemic. We have experienced people fighting for equality and justice. And then internally, we're battling things like fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Those are all very common themes that it doesn't matter your age, your race, your location, that we all, for the first time in recent human history, we're all experiencing these similar emotions. So I think that we have more similarities than we do have differences. And when we connect on similarities, then it changes the scope of our conversation. So today's focus for this amazing event is going to be focusing on common struggles. Why? It's the thing that ties us all together. It allows us to be open and vulnerable as we build our businesses and our personal brands. I have to tell you that I have had the honor to work with over 21,000 members on the inside of Social Curator. And let me tell you, I have been around the dang block. And I know that most of what we struggle with as business owners focuses on things that we desire. These are things that we want. But our desires, what we want, can be anchored in limiting beliefs. So the question then becomes, what are limiting beliefs? Now, you might be sitting here, I'm going to pause because you could be thinking, wait a minute, I thought we were talking about social media. Oh, we are. But oftentimes in life and in business, we're not actually talking about a symptom. We're talking about the root. Is that how we show up is sometimes rooted or anchored or held down by something else. That, my friends, in the course of this conversation, is a limiting belief. Limiting beliefs are subconscious thoughts that keep you stuck. So a subconscious thought, listen, I know you didn't wake up this morning and be like, I'm awful or I'm out of it. No, like you're here, you're taking the time to invest in your business. But on a subconscious level, you might think every so often something to hold you back. Perhaps it could be, I'm starting too late. Other people started sooner. Other people say, well, I'm just too boring on social media. It doesn't work for me. Oh, well, you see Jasmine, she's already doing it on social media, or I don't know how. And so because I don't know how, therefore I won't. Or sometimes I hear people say, but like, who even cares what I post? Nobody's engaging with it. How do I even know that they want to be there? I've also heard people say, and sometimes it could be a subconscious narrative, if somebody's already doing it on social media, better. I don't know about you, but have you ever experienced one, any, or all of these thoughts? Because I have to say, again, we're going to be focusing on commonalities, is for you to ask yourself, do I struggle with the same thing, or do I struggle with limiting beliefs? Because if the answer is yes, and you come to that, we're going to have a very different conversation. Now, I can tell you that as business owners, period, I am telling you in every industry, in every sphere, at every level, that the things that we want boil down to three main things when it comes to social media. When it comes to social media, we want more clients. We want our photos on our feed to look branded or to look consistent. Like, we want our feeds to look fly. And the third thing that we want is our followers to comment and engage. Because I don't know about you, I've heard a lot of people say, Jasmine, it's crickets on my account when I post. Those are three common desires that I see in every single entrepreneur across disciplines and industries. More clients, a better looking feed, and their followers to comment and engage. Now, my question to you, and you could leave it up here in the chat, because you know we're having open conversations, is do you identify with any of these desires? And I know you're sitting here and you're probably not saying, I don't need to write in the chat. Maybe you do. Maybe you need to let other people know that they're not alone. And when they write yes, it lets you know that you aren't alone. Now, if we are talking about commonalities, and we're talking about the three main things that business owners desire, we also come across the three main struggles. Number one, consistency. I have a hard time posting every day, Jasmine. Not going to happen. The second biggest struggle is, Jasmine, I don't have time. I'm a single mom. I'm a college student. I have 5 kids. I get that. Lack of time is something we all struggle with. And the third biggest struggle when it comes to being productive on social media is people say, writing captions. I just don't know what to say. I'm not a copywriter. I'm not savvy. I'm not funny. I'm not witty. Okay. 3 main desires: more clients, a better looking feed, and more engagement. And the 3 main struggles: I have a hard time being consistent, I don't have time, and I really don't know what to say in captions. The question now comes to you is, do you identify with any of these struggles? Write it out. I'm gonna write in the chat right now, yes. I wish I had more time too. But here's a little bit of real talk, because this is your girl, first generation Latina. My parents are immigrants, didn't go to college. They raised us kids. I was homeschooled. I didn't learn how to read until I was 11, got a scholarship to go to college, got a scholarship to go to law school. And let me just deal you a little bit of real talk that I have learned throughout my professional and personal life. You have to work past your struggles to get your desires. Everything you want is on the other side of working toward your dream with reckless abandon. So friend, you must be consistent, you must make time, and you gotta write captions to what? To get more clients and more engagement. If you cannot face your struggles, you can't get your desires. Can I get an amen? Okay, but there was one thing that I did leave out, and I'm about to flip the script. So prepare your hearts. I believe that I am a professional educator. I am not an influencer. I am an entrepreneur with influence. There is a difference. And I've been in the game long enough to come out and confidently say, let me tell you, friend, straight out, there is no such thing as right or wrong on Facebook or right or wrong on Instagram. There's no such thing as good or bad, easy or hard. I don't even think that on Instagram there is such a thing as pretty or ugly. Why? People are subjective. What I can spend 2 hours making the most beautiful photograph and I'm like, oh, it's so good. And I put it out and people are like, it's fine. Beauty and ugliness is subjective. And I'm just going to come out beyond that from a business perspective. A pretty feed doesn't guarantee a profitable business. I have seen people with, like over 100,000 or 200,000 followers, and they're having a hard time trying to make money from Instagram. And I have seen people with less than 1,000 followers build a 6-figure business. Beauty doesn't matter because number one, it is subjective. And number two, people want to see the real, because I'm just going to come out and ask you, do you think, right? We could assume as business owners, oh, my feed's got to look a certain way, Jasmine. You see, I need to have easy breezy hair and I need to have inspirational quotes and I need to have an Instagrammable life. Okay. You might say, oh, but see, Jasmine, I need to travel and I need to look like I have that life and I go to those places and I drive those cars and I have those kinds of yachts. Do you though? Really? Because I don't know about you, but as we navigate the conversations on social media, I don't know how many more times could we see the mom, right? The mom with the sweater slouched off her shoulder with a messy bun, and her and all of her kids are wearing matching PJs and they're reading in bed and flipping a pancake. They're how many of those fake photos are we? How many times are we going to see the girls at brunch, right, with their legs crossed, holding a perfect cappuccino, looking sideways? How many times are we going to see, I don't know about you, but if I see one more peace sign, it's throwback to Coachella. I don't know how many more times I could see that photo because it's done so many times. And what we're now realizing is that when it comes to social media, your followers, just like myself and probably yourself, we're not on social media to look for perfection. We're on social media for connectivity. We're on social media because your followers want real. I'm not making stuff up. Studies recently have showed the same thing. People aren't looking for perfect. They are looking for real. The question then becomes, do you have the courage and the chutzpah to show up as 100% of you? Now, I'm going to come out and call myself out exactly for what it is. I will say that in 2016, I was telling people, your feed, it needs to look like a magazine spread. In 2017, I was telling people, oh, you have to tell your story. There has to be an arc, and there's got to be workings with color palettes. In 2018, I was telling people, it really, your Instagram feed, your social feeds, they should look like you're a magazine editor and you're going to be putting together a storyline. But what's happened since the inception of social media is that people got tired of looking at what was overly curated and perfect to just people showing up as themselves. And that should be freeing for so many people here, is that people want real, they don't want perfect. And the question, honestly, real chat, real talk, let's think of the faster way. Can you think of somebody who does what you do with a less than perfect account and is killing it in business? No, you don't need to rubberneck, we said, decide, oh, I don't know. I'm am I really going to come out? Yes, it's true. You know that you have a feed that's probably better than X, and she's doing better. And you're but what is it? Listen, I'm not going to spill any tea on this conversation, but I am going to bring up an example. What you're looking at right now is a snapshot of a member of Social Curator, and she also happens to be my hairstylist. Her name is Joanne. She has less than 1,000 followers. Now, real talk, if you were to look at her account, you would think, okay, she does hair, right? But I have to come out and say that this year, in addition to all the other things that was going on, COVID hit this industry. And I'm using this as an example because this industry specifically was hit much differently than a lot of other industries. So what happened during this time? I am here to report that Joanne built a business, and I hope that you are building a business in the same way, because she had 6 months of savings. She didn't have any credit card debt. She was cultivating her clients. She paid off her college education. She had paid off her husband's college education. She built a business. Even if on social media it looks like you're like, it's fine. She said not having a safety net makes you create your own. So my question to you is, are you ready to create a safety net? People say, oh, this was one of the hardest years in recent business history. We have people like Janelle, who had her first coaching session and 4 new clients. We have people like Kimberly, who's in the fitness world, and she said that her sales are up 58%. We have Hengam. Hengam owns a pizza parlor, and for months out of this year, she couldn't even have people come into the store, and she says her pizza parlor sales are up 40%. Anastasia is in the spiritual realm, and she's like, I made $1,000 in 2 days. So what then can we take from this? Joanne, Hengam, Kimberly, all of them showed up on social media. We know that social media works to drive sales within our followers. The question then becomes, are you willing to show up in the same way? Will you use social media to build your business? I hope you're answering yes, because ladies and gents, ladies and gents, and here's the thing, my daddy's a pastor. It's like, ladies, gentlemen, saints and ain'ts. Yes. We have to make the decision cognitively before we decide to move on. So the 2 biggest struggles when you're like, okay, I'm ready to work, I'm ready to use social media, I'm gonna get productive, is the next thing I hear people say is, yeah, but Jasmine, I made the commitment and now it just takes so much time and I don't know what to say. I have really great news, and I am going to explain how to keep it as simple as possible for you to be highly productive on social media so that you can turn your followers into customers. We're gonna be breaking this down in 2 different ways. So what are you going to need? Number 1, you're going to need a camera. And yes, you can absolutely use your phone. Number 2, you're going to need caption templates. Let's dive into number 1, which is your camera. I am a professional photographer. Occasionally, I will be using my professional camera to be taking photos. Oftentimes, I'm using the camera that I have on me, which is my iPhone. Now, what we heavily recommend to do is to create photo topics. Now, photo topics are powerful because they empower your followers to get to understand what you do from a visual perspective. So it's going to be via repetition. Photo topics are photos that you want to visually represent your business. Now, you're going to hear me talk a lot about Instagram right now. It's one of the most highly engaging platforms, and it is the fastest growing platform. But the good thing is that the methodology that I apply on Instagram works and I use on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Pinterest. So follow the foundation because I'm going to take you there. So let's focus on photo topics. These are photos you want to visually represent your business. So I'm going to walk you through a few of my examples. Photo topics, my photo topics, the things that you are going to consistently see on my feed. Photos of my family, my dog Polo. We casually joke that Polo is our CEO. You're going to see a lot of photos of coffee. That's like my productivity juice. You're going to see quotes. You're going to see me working from home. This is what you're going to see consistently coming out as visual representations of my business. Now, when it comes to photos, I understand specifically in health and wellness, specifically in fitness, and specifically you building a personal brand by way of educating and helping people change their life. You're like, photos, where do I get them? It takes so much time. So when it comes to your photos, I encourage you to build a photo bank. Now, a photo bank is created by photos that you can use today or in the future. So let's break this down. Let's say, for example, you decide, you're like, oh, I really want to show my lunch. You want to show your lunch. You could absolutely make your lunch, take a photo, and now you have a photo to post that day. Or you can think, I want to build a photo bank. What if I were to bring out all of my ingredients for my lunch and take a picture of that? the ingredients. You could put that in the photo bank. And then you could bring out a couple of like containers and you could talk about how you're going to meal plan. And you could take another picture of that. And then you could actually make your lunch, take a picture of your lunch, and you could put that in the photo bank. And then you could include perhaps, like if you had handwritten some notes, what the recipe is, you take a picture of the recipe and you put it in the photo bank. What did we just do? One event, 4 different ways. Perhaps you're going and you're going to go to a coffee shop. Well, you could have your phone and you order your coffee, and I always choose a chair by a window because natural light is the best light. And so what I'll do is I'll get my cup of coffee and I'll place it on my table and I could take a picture. I have one photo. I could get my coffee and take a selfie. That is another photo. I could get my phone, place it in a window, and set a timer. You can get it, every iPhone comes with a self-timer, or you can download an app on Android for a self-timer, and you could set up the phone at a distance in the window, kind of like, look, you have your profile, and you're holding a cup of coffee. 1 cup of coffee, 3 different photos, they're going in your photo bank. This is how we think long-term and bigger once we know our photo topic. So here's an example. I was featured, I have a podcast called The Jasmine Star Show, and this year it was nominated as one of the top female podcasts. So when this magazine came, I already had my content plan for the week. So what I did was I took a picture of the magazine and then I put it in my photo bank to be shared in the future when I was looking for something to post. Same thing goes with my family. Because my family is one of my photo topics, when we go and hang out with my family, I'm not just taking one photo, I'm taking one photo and then I'm putting a few in the photo bank that I could share in the future. I also do the same for video clips. There are times that I can create various video clips at different times, and I'm going to be putting them in my bank for at some point in the future if I would like to share it. So we're thinking about the long tail. Okay, so friends, this is going to be your action item. What I would love for you to do is to put a photo in your photo bank at least once a day to guarantee that you're consistently posting your photo topics. This is how we avoid overwhelm. My mom always said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So friends, bring out those phones, think about your photo topics, and when you're in those situations, you're taking photos and then putting them in your bank for the future. This is where the most common question comes in. Where do I keep my photo bank? And I have great news. It's entirely up to you. Different people work differently. You can create a photo bank on your phone. You can create folders on your phone. You can put them in a scheduling app like Planoly or Hootsuite. You could put them on Dropbox. You can put them on Google Drive, whatever works for you and your workflow. Okay, so friends, I got a little bit of coffee here. We're taking a bit of a breather. Yes, okay. We are at the halfway point because now we're going to get into the second part of how we can be the most productive. Remember, we just are finding out a way to build out a photo bank so we're not overwhelmed, constantly searching for photos to post. Now we're in the second part, and this is what we call caption templates. Caption templates are a quick and effective way to know what to say and how to say it. This is for all the times that you're like, life is really good, or I'm building a promotion, or we're going into the holidays, right? Like, this is the perfect time. Caption templates, what to say and how to say it. So the origin of these and why I know they work and they're just irresistible is I wrote caption templates for my students in an Instagram course. This Instagram course doesn't exist anymore. And let me talk to you about how all of a sudden I started seeing a major pressure point. So I was writing caption templates. So these are fill in the blank type of caption templates. And I was like, hey guys, these work really well on social media. So I would give them, and then all of a sudden when the course ended, I was no longer creating the templates. Somebody once told me, if you teach a woman, I just ruined it. Somebody once told me, if you give a woman a fish, she eats for a day. If you teach a woman how to fish, she eats for a lifetime. I didn't know it then, but I was just handing out a fish. And I needed to teach people how to fish. That's what I want to do today, because for anybody who says, I don't know what to say, I want to discuss the anatomy of a caption. What makes captions really good on social media? Because friends, there is a framework. On the inside of Social Curator, we have coined and own the HIC formula. We say, hey, are you using your HIC formula? So let's break this acronym down. H is your hook. This is where you want to hook a person in and reel them in. Because on Instagram and even on Facebook, there is a button that people actually have to click the read more. You want to make sure that the vast majority of your followers, they're so interested in reading the rest of your comment that they have to click on the read more, and a good hook draws them in. Then the second part of the formula is you're going to add your I insights. These are 2 to 3 insights about you and or your business that makes your followers know, like, and trust you. This is where you tell a story. This is where you get engagement. This is where you build commonality with your followers. And the last part of the HIC formula is C, call to action. What do you want your followers to do? Oftentimes, business owners will say, oh, Jasmine, people aren't responding on my comments. On my post. And when I read the post, people will say, I had a lovely lunch with Stephanie. We talked and had great ideas. Okay. Just finish my workout, hashtag leg day, hashtag get it, had fun. Okay. This is my favorite breakfast smoothie. When we don't have a call to action, like leave a comment, tag a friend, what do you think? How do you spend your days? What recommendations? If we don't ask people to participate, chances are they won't. So let's take a breakdown of how this would work. Here's a very good sample hook. You'll never believe what I'm about to admit. Oh, what is it? Click on the read more. Gotta reel them in. And we do that with our insights. I started my business when X and I wanted Y, so I created Z. So you're sharing personal things that make people know, like, and trust you. And then we get to the last and final part, which is the call to action. This is, what do you dream of doing? We've invited people to have a conversation and leave a comment and talk back to us. So let's take a look at an example of how this would unfold. So what you're looking at right now is the inside of Social Curator. Like I mentioned before, we provide resources. We provide, Instagram story templates, Facebook story templates with engagement drivers, and we go through and we provide sampling and a library of images for people to select. Now, let's just say, okay, I need to know what my caption template's going to be. You can copy the text. You can take your own photos to add to your own photo bank with our photo ideas, or if you're in a pinch and you're like, I just need something, you can download, say, this photo of tea. You can simply go into Facebook, you can paste the caption template and start modifying right there, make it your own, and you could add the photo of the tea. What we just did was find a way to be consistent, save time, and we're preparing ourselves for engagement. Okay, so friends, now let's get a little productive. This is where the pedal meets the rental. This is where the rubber meets the road. Anyway, let's get going. Okay, so what I'm gonna encourage you to do is to plan your week using your photo topics and your caption templates. We walked you through the 2 steps for you and how to do this. We're gonna have a quick review. Step number 1 is to choose photos from your photo bank for the week. Step number 2 is to personalize the caption templates. Step number 3 is to schedule your posts. Remember, we're gonna do it for 1 week. And step number 4 is to engage daily. It's about this time in the conversation where I hear 2 main things from entrepreneurs. They're like, okay, but Jasmine, what if I don't have enough photos in my photo bank so I can plan for the week? And where can I find these caption templates? Well, I'm very happy and excited to say that Amanda and the entire team said, Jasmine, can you create resources for the team? And I was like, yes, of course, it would be my pleasure. If you go to jasminestar.com/faster-way, what you're going to get, this is a free download. We're going to give you a weekly planning guide. We're going to give you 10 caption templates. We're going to give you 10 lifestyle photos to fill in. Unless you already have photos of your own, then go right ahead. And we're also going to give you 3 story templates. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, LinkedIn is now doing stories. Use these templates, customize them, and start sharing so that people start engaging with your account. The thing that we want more than anything is to be so in tuned with taking action. There is a difference between being on social media, like I have an account and I post when I remember, to using social media. I have a plan and strategy. I show up consistently. I know who I'm talking to. I know who I am here to serve. All we want you to do is don't just be on social media. We want you to use social media. I have seen the biggest and the brightest, the most successful people on social media to market their business, and the thing that they all have in common is they just do. They're not perfect. They take messy action, scary action, imperfect action, sloppy action, exciting action, uncertain action. They just do something. And that is what I am desperate for you to do today, to have the courage and the wherewithal to take a plan and make it work for you. Because I know that there are dark days, and I know that there's heavy days. I know there's overwhelming days where you're just like, the last thing I want to do is open up a social media app and show up. And all I am going to say in response to that is, when we make social media about us, we rob God or the universe the way that we are supposed to show up. We were put here for a purpose. And I believe that when you are working in conjunction with Faster Way, it's not just a singular physical purpose. You are changing somebody from the inside out. And when you show up, you are uniquely qualified to speak to one person in that moment who needs to hear from you. So my question is, will you show up?